1 second. Okay. Give me 1 second, let me start. Hi, Christine, how you doing? You okay? Okay, so let's start. I've got my draft ready, which I want to do before we get into the assignment. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my full screen so that you're able to see how do we go about, doing this particular assignment. So let me just save this very quickly and then we will start. So there we go. Right here. So let me share my full screen and let's give it a go. Okay. So on my screen, you see 3 documents, right? So I've got a PDF document here, which is basically the assignment brief. This is the first document that we've got on the left-hand side here. This is, the assignment brief and the unit specification, for this particular unit, which is social and community welfare provision. Now, we have studied this particular unit in 3 learning outcomes, and these 3 learning outcomes that we have covered are given here. We've understood what are the factors influencing health. Then we looked at how do we understand the development of social and community welfare provision. And lastly, yesterday we saw and we discussed the values which are important in terms of providing community and social welfare services to the members of public. Now, this unit, if you see, is a 6 credit unit. It's a core unit within the nursing course. So here, this is going to be graded. That means you can achieve pass, merit, and distinction. And the indicative word length of the assignment is divided. The total word count required for the assignment is 3,500. And the assignment is divided into 2 tasks, task 1 and task 2. Task 1 is 2,500 word essay, and task 2 is a poster, which is what they've asked for, which is like a table or a poster that we need to draw up. And this table or a poster that we draw up will basically cover the key milestones, outline the key milestones in social and community provision in the UK. And then the poster that we draw up is going to be accompanied by a 1,000-word write-up, which explains similarities and differences between healthcare provision, which are present now vis-a-vis which were present about 20 years back or 30 years back, when this was not available and this was not introduced by the National Health Service. So in the 1980s, we saw the social welfare community provision being introduced. So what we have to do here is the poster that we draw up will show a timeline on a table. I'll show you what exactly that table means and table looks like. And what it will allow us to then do is, after we draw the table up, it will then allow us to essentially look into what is called describing that timeline to be able to cover that, from a point of view of words. And that is what the 1,000-word write-up is going to be all about. Now, where do we get the timeline from? I'm just going to quickly look at opening the presentation, wherein I have already put or at least given you an idea in terms of the timeline. This is, I think, in the learning outcome 2. And in learning outcome 2, this poster, which is basically showing the timeline, is what we are going to be looking at producing, and writing about in our task 2. So if I copy this, the way I would go about doing the assignment now is, first of all, I'm going to actually, create a bit of a working document. This working document that I've created primarily is, this working document. I'm going to put this here, the second one in terms of a timeline, and then the third. So we can copy this. You can use this from my presentation. Let me close all this now. And then this bit is what I have already created as a bit of a draft. So what I want to do is make sure it's visible. So expand it to a full page. And then I need to have a write-up which explains this timeline. So this is the timeline, and the write-up I've written down in 1,000 words. Now, how do I look at doing and starting an assignment? First of all, let's get into that. Now, this particular assignment is available as a Word document, as you can see here. This is a PDF, this is a Word document. What I need to be able to do is, before I start my assignment, I need to basically look at taking up the covering page. So how do I take this covering page up? The other day, I know Jessica was in the, in the college, and obviously was taking help of Victor to be able to put this together. So what I'm going to do is first, copy this first bit here as it is. So if I start a new document now, forget this document here, start a new document here in terms of doing the assignment. First things first, what I'm going to do is copy this page, which is the first page of the assignment brief. This is called the cover sheet. So in this case, I'm going to write my name. So we will fill this cover sheet up, right? Center UK Versity. So we start filling this up. What is the tutor name? Ramanjeet Singh. So obviously I'm just going to write here R Singh, just to be not repetitive. Rest, what I would do is the date on which this assignment is being released now is 2nd April 2023. The due date of this assignment is 15th April 2023. And the date which you submit, if you submitted earlier, great. If you do not, then obviously, we will look at a resubmission date. Now, here is where you'll put your signature in. So if I have a soft copy of my signature, which is what I have just as an example. So if I've got a soft copy of my signature, if not, then, you can just put, I would say, basically, just mention your name here if you want to, right? And then if I don't want to put this, I will just mention my name here. And what I normally do is by mentioning my name here, I'm going to also change the font, which looks like a bit of a signature font, right? So it looks like a signature. And then word count, I have to look at putting my exact word count. So when I look at my exact word count here, which I have created as a draft right now, this is 3364 words. This part is going to be completed by the tutor, so you don't need to worry about this. This part underneath here, as you can see, date, and other bits, this is something that we will produce, so you don't need to do anything on this part, grade and all the other bits. Now, somehow this alignment is slightly gone out, so what we can do is adjust the width to make sure that everything that we do or provide is, formatted. So you should be able to adjust the margins and obviously bring this to a single page by, copying and pasting. In my case, obviously it's got a bit distorted, but don't worry about it. Now, when I have started my assignment, the other bit that I'm going to do is at any given stage, mention, the page number on the assignment. So how do I do this? Because I've got the cover page here and the page number. So I double click on the option in the footer here. And then as you can see on the Word, the moment I go into footer, it will say insert and go and insert page number and click OK. You don't need to do anything. And that has inserted the page number in it, and I will delete everything else which is there. So now every time I go into and add another page, it will automatically keep adding the page numbers, to the whole of the document. And that would ensure that at any given stage, when I do something like this, it is going to automatically add those pages, as far as the document is concerned. Now, what I also want to do is start looking at the second page of the document, and which is basically the assignment brief. So what I'm going to do here is double click in the middle, and from here, copy everything down and then put it in the second page. So press enter, go into the second page, as you can see, and then copy it here. So this brings the assignment brief down here. Now, as the assignment says, I need to do both the tasks. So what I want to do is basically, after this, put some enter a couple of times, and then, take this to the other page. Now, when I look at doing the assignment, that's the bit that I would look at. And then the second bit, which I need to copy through because it is required, is if I go here after the cover sheet, go to insert on the top and insert a page break. That means it will make an empty page, and I will copy and paste this here because this is required for marking by the tutor. Now, as long as this has been done, this part that we see here is something that we will input So you don't need to worry about it. And that would essentially mean that at some stage you can start doing the assignment, going forward. So when we look at sharing the, the assignment brief with you, this is how you go about starting the assignment. Because what I want to do is here, if I take any images and I want to put that in, I can drag and I can put the image, as you can see, which allows me to put some feedback later. And then if I have to decide the grades, I can do this here. And I've copied the assignment brief. Now this becomes my working document. This is what I'm going to use to be able to submit at the end of the day, my assignment as far as for this unit is concerned, right? Now, when I've got this, I need to now write my assignment. So first task of the assignment says, discuss the extent to which social issues influence both health and healthcare delivery in contemporary society. Now, the cheat or the hint given here is that this particular part is covering learning outcome 1 and learning outcome 3. So where is learning outcome 1? Learning outcome 1 is understanding the factors which influence health. And learning outcome 3, understand the values which are to be adhered to while providing these services to the members of public, social and community welfare provision. So it will cover this and this assessment criteria, and 1.1, 1.2, and 3.1 and 3.2 assessment criteria. Now, first of all, when I start to do the assignment, I would look at reading the keywords. One of the first keyword is it talks about discuss. Now, if I show you what is the meaning of the word discuss, we need to know what is the meaning of the word discuss. So when I talk about discuss, design, describe, I will basically look at understanding what does this word essentially mean first. Now, because it talks about discussing, that means discussion would involve, me having to go into clearly explaining what the particular term means. And if appropriate, we need to include an example as well. So this is the command verb which basically defines what you have to write in the task. So we have to go into defining what is social issues, how do social issues influence health, and how do the delivery of healthcare, affects the general well-being of members of public in the society. So this is the 3 parts to the task that we have to cover, and that means I have understood this particular task and activity correctly. Now, how do I confirm this? If I go into the Word document and go into the assessment criteria, what you're going to say is the first part, because it talks about discuss, leave that out. It says explain key social issues. What was my first thing that I said? We have to explain or define what are social issues, right? The other bit that we have to, where are these social issues? In health and in healthcare service delivery. Both of these have to be defined. So when I look at this task, it says explain social care issues, and it says discuss how these issues affect health and well-being. So what we have to do is also do a discussion on how these issues affect the people in society. Then if I look at this, what are the core values that underpin health and social care delivery? And then it talks about discuss and identify ethics that underpin. So while discussing the social issues in health and the delivery of social and healthcare issues to the members of public in the society, I need to be also discussing what are the core values, and I also need to discuss what are these ethical values which need to be conformed to by healthcare professionals when they are delivering these services within this particular sector. So first of all, it is important for us to understand what the task is saying, what is the command verb of the task. Because it says discuss here, that is why the word limit has been put as up to 2,500, right? It says up to 2,500. So up to 2,500 means plus minus 10%. That means you can write 2250 words or 2750 words, but it should not exceed or go below this. That is what it says, up to 2500 words. Generally, that is what it would mean. So now, having understood this, let's read what output is it asking us to produce this in. So student responses should follow a standard essay format written in paragraphs with a line of argument leading to conclusion. So what you have to do is, when you write this particular evidence, you have to create what is called an essay or a Word document. And in Word document, you'll be using and putting together this bit of explaining what is health, social issues, what are how social issues affect health and well-being, and how these issues and delivery of health and welfare services affect people in society, by writing it in paragraphs and, obviously building arguments. Now, there is a way that I can do the assignment by looking at reading into some of the presentation slides and then building my arguments around it and then explaining the argument. So argument is, today it's not going to rain. For example, it is not going to rain today. This is an argument that you have presented. Now, how are you going to define that it's not going to rain today? I will say, having looked at data for April for the last couple of years, it doesn't seem likely that it will rain during this week, as per statistical data collected from weather or meteorological department. This is one way of defining the argument that you have said. Why is it not going to rain? Then the second could be, having looked at today's forecast, it is slated to be sunny and the temperature is going to be that much. And what you're doing is basically whatever you have said as an argument that it's not going to rain, then you're justifying them by giving valid reasons. And that is what would mean that you have to have a leading argument and then keep explaining that by statistical data or data which is proven, or something that you are aware of which has been researched and is related to the topic. Now, in terms of my argument for the task 1, I have written this in terms of doing the assignment. So I've written about 1600 words so far, and this about 1000 words so far. And these 1000 words, I'm going to put it like this. So I've started with a bit of an introduction to the topic of discussion to say health and healthcare delivery is influence. Now, mind you, in my case, I am not referencing. You are not going to see any references here, because what I've done is I have gone to 3 particular places. One, Department of Health website. I've looked at an article or a journal which was presented, which basically presents the problem of cultural issues being faced within the delivery of health and social care service. And then also looked at how do we look at providing service to people with disability. And I have read this particular, article which is published, on a website. And from these 3 different places, what I've done is I have read it and I'm writing it in my own words. So what I've done is I've given a bit of an introduction first. Then I have created paragraphs for argument discussion, which is social issues in health, racial discrimination, and within social issues. Why is it a social issue and why is it an issue for healthcare in general? Then I've looked at social issues and healthcare disparities. And then towards the end, what I've done is, so this is the issue that I've seen, and I've written something about the issue. And then I've seen this as an issue. I've written something about the issue. I've seen racism and discrimination as an issue, given some explanation, and in general, social issues which we generally face, which are contemporary issues like income, education, employment opportunities, public housing. And I've chosen that and I've given those as an explanation here. This allows me to complete the first task, which is to be written as an essay, also addressing the assessment criteria as 1.1, 1.2, and 3.1 and 3.2. Is that okay? Then I move to, go on.
Excuse me, please. The one you just showed us, is that how we're going to write the essay?
Yes.
A paragraph.
This is exactly how you're going to do the assignment. So if I now just only share the current screen on which we are doing the assignment, this is how you're going to exactly do the assignment as I've explained, starting from scratch.
Okay, but what about if we already started? How are we going to put this?
So how that is what again I have also shown in terms of looking at how you would start this. So in my case also I did this as a document without the cover page, as you can see. This is what I had already done as a assignment. Now, in order to give it a shape and then make it presentable in the format in which the awarding body wants to see it, what I've done is I started with the assignment brief, copied this bit, these 3 pages, and I put them into the assignment by creating a new document. As you can see, the first page, which I fill up, second page, the third page, and then I copied this whole stuff, into the assignment that I'm creating. I'm going to do this now for task 2 also in front of you. So task 2, basically I've already made a rough draft of my own of task 2 as well, which is produce an academic poster. So this is an academic poster I'm going to start off with. Paste here, first part, because obviously we need to show a timeline. And timeline, they've asked you to produce a document which is looking like a poster, which you put up on the wall, it looks like a poster. So if you see the task and read it very carefully, so if I just show you this part of the document, rest of the screen. So it says, produce an academic poster and display the key milestones in social and community provision. So I've started with 1948, then gone to most of the important timelines I've taken, and this is what I put across, in this particular document. I can also do something wherein I can only produce a very small, document, which is of a outline of a timeline, which is required. And I can do it because I don't know whether you've seen, but in my presentation, I have done a very brief outline of the major changes which have happened in the, in the field of social and welfare community provision. And these are the key milestones. If I look at briefly summarizing it, these are the key milestones that we see which have led to the creation of, community and welfare provision within the National Health Service. So I might write these as the milestones which I've seen, which are also, it is like a poster. It is like a page, but if I need to make it into a poster now or make it look and feel like a poster, because the task, if you recall, if I go up, actually says an academic poster displaying the outline of key milestones in this. So I can copy this text as it is and put it as a heading here. Right, if I put this as a heading here, how do I make this into a poster? This is a use of a bit of Microsoft Word. So I go into, top on the, say, design. And the design, what I will do is basically give it some sort of a, beautiful heading. Use some of the heading or the, options which are available and make it look like a poster. So let me see. And that would be looking like a poster.
What you're explaining is not showing on the screen, please.
Give me 1 second. There we go. So if you see, this bit is the bit that is asking in the task. So what I will do is, how do I give it now? This is key milestones which are defined, which have led to the creation of social and welfare community provision. Now, how do I make it look like a poster? So if you are in Word document, in the Word document, there is a way that you can create this as a poster. So if you go into layout or you go into design, And in the design, there is an option wherein you can choose any of these designs and then create it as a poster. So if I choose this first one as an option, it should allow me to give it like a bit of a design to make sure that, you know, I'm doing something which is looking like, or at least it feels like a poster. Right. So if I don't go into details of it, what I will do is do a bit of formatting and put a box around it. And you will see in a second. So let me just make it slightly fancy. It looks like a poster. Here you go. As you can see, I put a bit of a border around it, and that looks like a bit of a poster. So we need to give it a look and feel. The idea of the assignment, the awarding body asking you to do this in a way is to also ask you to develop your soft skills. And those soft skills can be developed by essentially you know, using Microsoft Word in such a way that you're able to design it or put the output like a poster. Now, once this has been done, the second part of the task, you can draw up a table as well. If you want to do a table, you can do a table as well. And that will look like a poster. Because the idea is, how does a poster look like when you go into an office? You see a health and safety poster, you see a fire marshal or a first aider poster, you see a poster which is showing maybe some sort of, information or, information related to the office or to the GP surgery when you go. And you see a poster. So the idea here is to draw up a poster. So if I have to make it a poster or look like making it a poster, I can also put an image in it, timeline image, just to show that it is a timeline and it looks like a poster. Now, there are various ways through which you can do this. It depends on how much time you want to spend on doing the assignment. So you can see this is a timeline. This is how actually a poster would look like. But if I have to draw this, I am quite comfortable with using it, in terms of doing it, because I know and I'm an advanced user of, Microsoft Word. So I can design it like a poster, not an issue. But will you be able to do it? It is something that you have to look at. And that is what you have to, kind of do with regards to making sure that this is something that you are able to, submit and then submit it within a timeline. There's no point in spending too much time on it because it is a Word document, but at the end of the day, it needs to look and feel like a poster or at least like a timeline, which even this bit, I've just changed the format of the page. And this looks like a timeline or a poster that you can actually print and put on the wall or on the board. Got it? So if you see, this is what it probably is what you need to look at doing when we look at the first part of the second task, which is to produce a poster. Now, once this has been done, the second part of the task is asking you to write, 1,000 words, up to 1,000 words, to explain the similarities and differences between health and social care provision between now and what were available, in the past. So here again, I would primarily end up doing a table, which is going to be easier for me to show that as a difference. So first things first, I'm going to look at just copying this so that before I start the task, so insert, next page, layout will be landscape. I want it this way. Put the task in, and then what I'm going to do is do a bit of a table. And that table will help me compare the current provision that we see in terms of health and social care within the community, and what was available earlier a few years back. And this would be 1,000 words, which I put in. You understand? So, and I would briefly define this table by talking about what does this table show. So I'm going to put some words here, and they would essentially talk about what is the table actually showing. It talks about values. If you recall, it talks about what are the values and ethics which underpin health and social care delivery under social and community provision. I need to talk about the person-centered values and the 6 C's of care. That is 6 C's of quality and care that are required to be able to discuss. That has been put across as an assignment here. So this particular document, as you can see, has now become a document which is the actual assignment. Is that okay? So
yeah, it's okay.
If I was in your place, what I'm going to do is primarily this is how I would go about, doing the assignment. It's got slightly distorted because what I did was, did change the line spacing to 1.5, and that changing of line spacing to 1.5 has distorted some part of it. But as you can see, this has more or less become my assignment, which I need to now submit, or which is required for me to do for this particular unit.
Yeah, Rama, but the first assignment you gave us is not supposed to be like this.
All assignments are to be done like this only. First assignment, what do you mean by first assignment? So if I go on to Moodle, I normally provide all assignments samplers, right? So let me go on to Moodle. Which unit are we referring to? So if I go into Moodle now and go into nursing, so before this, we have covered, the unit of equal opportunity and diversity. So the sampler assignment that you see, if I open this up, is exactly like this. The front page, the assignment brief, the grid which the tutor will use for marking, commenting that we will put here. And then if we will see if you've achieved the grading or not, we'll mention the grades here against the criteria. And then if I go down further, I've started my assignment, which is the assignment by choosing one particular topic. So I've given an example of prejudice, stereotyping, and oppression. The topics for this assignment are given, on the top here, that out of these 4 or 5 topics, you have to discuss one of them. So it could be the, Black Lives Matters, the gender pay gap, the law, race and development of Black Lives Matters, operation of minority group, whichever one you want to take. So I've taken the first one and then basically started doing my assignment. So I've defined these terms, then looked at, giving examples by building arguments, writing details, and then it has been referenced.
Can we use bullet points?
Yes, you can use bullet points, but the entire assignment cannot be bullet points.
Yeah.
Because in the assignment brief, it says very clearly that you have to use paragraphs, and those paragraphs have to be developed using leading arguments. That means you have to have some sort of small headings, 1 line, 2 line headings, and those headings will then be defined by, writing evidence out in the form of paragraphs.
Yes, my first assignment is the legislation one. The quality, yeah, that's my first assignment. This one you're talking about, I've known. Yeah, I was not in class then.
So that is don't need to worry about it because every assignment brief is provided as a Word document. The reason of providing it as a Word document is to ensure that you are able to copy and paste, the assignment brief from, from the assignment brief itself.
Okay.
Okay, so it will be the same format for all the assignments. And the reason I say this is that because when we send it for moderation, they want to see learner declaration. What is there in this? One important part, the learner declaration, that this is your own assignment, you have signed for it.
Yeah.
Then the other bit they also want to do is, like an examiner would want to see, they would want to see what is the assignment brief, what is the assignment topic or the question.
Okay.
So that is where the idea is you have to be using smart work here. Now, I can do all this by typing it out also. If I go back to the Word document for a minute, I can type this by looking into, if I show you the full assignment, my screen for a minute. Let me just show you this. I can type it out, but the idea is, why do I need to spend so much time in typing it out? That is why the idea of having the Word document, so that you can actually use it and then show it. So if this is the document which I'm doing my assignment in, as you can see, right now, I can start a new page, new document, for example, and I can start writing it manually. First things first, I will write manually here, social and community welfare provision. You're spending more time when it is already given. Copy and paste, right? Then I need to look at putting this grid in. So I will write my student name. I will write submission date. Why do you want to create a format? Do you see what I'm trying to say? And then when it comes to writing this, you will again take half an hour, to write task. So we have to do intelligent work. So what we have to do is, if things are given, copy it, because this is the assignment, copy, paste, start from here, and press enter, start from here. Do you get my point?
Yes.
So the reason why this has been given as a Word document, this bit, is because this is to be utilized by the student. The student declaration has to be copied. Will you copy all this here and write it or type it? So best is start with this document which has been given and insert a page, go to the end of it. If I look at here, go to the end of it, insert page, start doing your assignment from here. So I will start writing my task 1 here, as you can see. Then if I've written my task 1 here, what I would then do is, start typing it here. So I've done away with 15-20 minutes of my work, which is required to be done because it is already provided to me, in the assignment brief. Now I type this here. My first task is done. Then I go to second task, copy it, and then, start typing again, because I need to look at, spending time on writing my assignment. So some bits which are already available, you need to be able to pick up straight away. And the bits which are not there, you have to keep right. You have to obviously go ahead and type. So 3 things which you have to look at in the assignment brief. First part, if I just take you back now to the main document that we are using to do the assignment, which is this. First part, make sure that you follow the, assignment brief in terms of the cover and everything. Okay. Second part, make sure that you are writing the assignment task before you start. And then look at concentrating on what evidence it is asked to be produced. It says discuss, command work. You have to look at social issues. But the key part here written is student response should follow a standard essay format written in paragraphs. So when it says written in paragraphs, you can use bullets, but ideally, if you ask me, because it is asking you to write it in paragraphs with a line of argument leading to conclusion, which means you have to write an introduction and you have to write a conclusion. So in those cases, you would need to make sure that you are actually writing the assignment in this format. It cannot use bullet points. Is that okay?
Yes. What about if we are listing?
What do you mean listing?
Listing like you're listing 1, 2, or A, B, C, D. You want to list like let me say the
No. So you follow this here. It says paragraph and heading and conclusion. So you have to write an introduction, you have to do it in paragraphs, and you have to do a conclusion towards the end. This is a must. Otherwise, you will not, you will get this as a feedback from me, and they will have to go back and revisit it.
Okay.
Academic poster, if I do a quick search on Google and say what is an academic poster or a template, you would see 9 out of 10 times it will come up as a table. It will come up as a poster. So sometimes, we need to be able to, even before I start to do my assignment, I will do a quick search to see what does an academic poster look like. So if I say academic poster, as you can see, these are the type of things which are coming up as academic poster. It looks like a poster. Can you see poster? Why? Because it has images, graphs, tables. It looks and feels like it is something that you can print out and put it on the wall.
Yeah.
Right. So when we have to do the second task, it is asking us to look at designing an academic poster. Now, with the use of Word, I can do the use of Word by looking at making it like a poster. So I can look at some images and I can insert 1 or 2 images, one image here, maybe at the top, if I have to do, and one image here, and then it will look like a poster.
Okay.
So if I do a quick search on Google for health and social care provision images, there are going to be lots of different types of images which come up. And if I look at maybe putting 1 or 2 images in, I can probably put, an image in like this, but make it small to look and be in the poster. As you can see. So I'll put this image here. It'll start looking like a poster now. So this is where you have to look at maybe using your soft skills to create something which essentially will make your article or, your evidence that you're producing look and feel like a bit of a poster that you've drawn up. Can you see?
Yeah, with this very one, is this still insert?
This is insert. Yeah, this is insert picture. Insert and picture.
Okay.
Right. So this particular assignment that I've done as a sampler, I'm going to make it available on Moodle. So you are going to be able to see it. Now, it says the last task of your task is your poster should be accompanied by similarities and differences between current healthcare provision and earlier healthcare services. So the best way to look at depicting this is to do a table. Look at key features on which you are able to prepare, which is looking at, healthcare, preventive healthcare, patient-centered approach. When it came in, it has become important. Use of technology and social determinants of health. And what you do is you put earlier, pre-1980s, and current, which is current now.
Yeah.
And then a table depicts everything, and you are able to complete it.
Okay.
Towards the end, you put references.
After this completion, we're still going to write the conclusion.
No. After this, you'll put references for the whole assignment that we have done. We put some references here. Wherever you've taken your data from, in my case, I've taken the data from these 3 main, sites. So what I will do is layout, insert, next page, orientation, portrait. and then put references. I'm going to put these references because these are the 3 references from which I've taken all my data from in the assignment. And that's it. That's my assignment done. But I have spent about half a day on this to read first what I need to cover from these 3 places. So you will need to read first my PowerPoint presentation, the handouts which I provided. From there, take out the data that you are going to use as evidence. You would maybe have it as a document open in front of you, and then you are going to paraphrase or read something and write in your own words.
Yeah.
And that is how you will be looking at creating this particular assignment.
Okay. Then these references, other words we are going to use, we can include it to the references.
Yes, you can include, yes.
Okay.
So whichever place you have taken, data from, you have to include them as references in your, obviously in your assignment.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, you have to tell where you're getting this data from.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good stuff. Any other questions? Anybody else?
So like this front page, once we copy it into a new word, it will still come out like this.
Yes, it'll come out like this automatically.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to put this document on Moodle so that you are able to see and use this as an example to do your assignment.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Any other questions? Anybody else? Okay. If there are no more questions, I'm going to make available the copy of this recording just after this session. And what I will also do is I'll upload it now on the Moodle here. So you can actually go and see it, that it is available. That would allow you to then submit the assignment, for marking by 15th April. So there are 2 things that you have to keep in mind. One is that this particular assignment is graded. It's a 6 credit unit. This is the sample I put here that you can check, which I've shown you. It's a 6 credit unit and the assignment is graded, and we need to be able to submit it by 14th or 15th of April. Okay, next week we are going to start a new unit.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you so much for attending, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Salil. Thank you, Es. Thank you, Christine.
Rama. Hello, Rama.
Yes.
Can you send the recording on WhatsApp?
Yes, I'm going to send the recording on WhatsApp.
Okay.
And every recording, just to give you an idea, for every session that we do, this is always available on our YouTube channel. So I don't know how many of you have gone in and subscribed. As you can see, this is now broadcasting live here. So once the session finishes, this will be visible to you under live Ascentis Social and Community Welfare Provision Assignment.
We send the link.
Okay.
Link to you.